In this video, we're going to show you how to remove and replace a passenger lower control arm with ball joint in a Nissan Maxima. 21mm socket, we're going to remove the lug nuts on the front tire. So to remove the lower sway bar link connection to the sway bar rod, ours is broken, as you can see, the link's completely gone. The inside would be a 19mm wrench, and the outside is an 18mm wrench or socket. And then we're going to break that free. $18mm socket. We're going to take the pinch bolt out from the knuckle that holds the ball joint in. 18mm wrench on the other side. 18mm socket. Two lower control arm bolts. 21mm socket and wrench. There's a nut on the top. Taking that out. Let's see if we can get this to come down. And the more forward one. Now with my pry bar, I'm going to just pull this pry control arm right out of that bushing there. And now we can get it out the rest of it a little bit. Here, probably take a hammer, just give it a good tap right there. Remove the old cotter pin. Make sure you discard it because you're not going to reuse it. 32mm socket, remove the axle nut. So all the bushings are nice and obviously firm and stiff, which is good, but now it's harder to install because everything's vertical and not giving. So that's why you take the axle nut off, so you can actually pull the whole hub and axle out. So we can try to line this thing up again and get this to seat. I have a long awl that's tapered that I like to use on situations like this, because then you can, while you're guiding it, you can try to line up the bolt holes best you can do it. Basically, you want to get the ball joint up beside the knuckle. I've got it pretty much in a good position here. I can take that awl, look at that, line that bolt right up, straight through. And now I can take the bolt, put it in, and then move to the back part. See how I used the actual bolt to center that top, because now it's at an angle in this manner. Put it in and just gave it taps so the top went over to the right point. And then I could just put that nut right on. I'm not going to tighten it. I'm just going to hand tighten it so that that bolt won't come down. And now we can see the back pivot. It's got enough there so I can get my awl in there. You can use a screwdriver, whatever you have handy. Center that. You're gonna have to do the same. Back here, you're gonna have to manipulate that top to go over. See how an angle it is? You can feel it right here. Yeah, it's gonna go that way. Oh, about a ½ inch. So, let me see if I can use it that way. Now before I tighten those, you're going to want to put the ball joint in the knuckle. I'm going to move the tie rod in so I have more of a swing to get that axle out. Let's take the cotter pin off. Discard it. You're not going to reuse that. 19mm socket. And you can always just give it a little tap right on that knuckle. Push that aside. I'm going to get a long pry bar, pull down on that control arm. Now you got the ball joint lined up with the knuckle. Take a rubber mallet. You're going to want to make sure that that indent is lined up with the bolt hole so you can put the pinch bolt straight through. So just tap it with a rubber mallet till you see that half moon so that the bolt will go straight through. It's like that. Turn it, put the nut on the other side. Start it by hand. And then we get our socket and tighten that up. So 18mm wrench on the nut side and socket 18mm. Let's tighten and snug up this pinch bolt. So I'm going to put my 18mm wrench back on the nut side, socket 18. And I'm going to tighten this to 63 foot-pounds. So the control arm bolts, bushing bolts, 21mm socket and wrench. I'm going to bottom them out. Take both of them, snug them both down. Now tighten the lower control arm bushing bolts through the subframe to 155 foot-pounds. Now we can put the tie rod in back into the knuckle. That has a flat washer and then the actual nut. $19mm socket or a wrench, and the torque spec is 26 foot-pounds. Now we're going to put our new cotter pin in. Just line it up. Make sure you bend it. I like to bend mine all the way around. Tap them down. If there's any excess, just snip it away. And if your jam nut, which is right here on the inner tie rod end and connects the outer together, was a little loose by any reason, always tighten it. I have a 22mm wrench. And then give it a little snug spin. There you go. Now we can install our axle nut. That's a 32mm socket, 1/2 inch gun. Just bottom it out and we're going to torque that to factory specs. So to tighten that spindle nut, axle nut, it's 129 foot-pounds. I like to take the a long pry bar. I'm going to wedge it right in there against the ground. Set my torque wrench to 129 foot-pounds. The axle comes with a new castle crown, so what you're going to do is line that up. And a new cotter pin. You're going to put that right through. And cut off the excess. Now we're going to attach the sway bar link to the sway bar. Fish that link right through. Take the lock nut, start it. That has Teflon thread on the end, so you're only going to go so far. 19mm wrench on the inside. And my 18 ratchet wrench. Once it bottoms out, now I'm going to get my torque wrench, put my 18mm socket on there, and set it to the factory spec. Torque spec for this sway bar link to bracket is 78.5. Now we can mount the tire. I'll lug this on by hand. .21mm socket. Go into crisscross pattern or star pattern. Just snug them up, and we'll torque them when we lower it to the ground. 21mm socket, 83 foot-pounds in a star pattern. Double check. When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.